Okie dokie. Right, we're in. So, why would an athlete choose Isagenix over any other products that are out there, anything else that's on the market? We're going to try and discuss that in this next 30 minutes, really, to put your mind at ease as to what you're recommending to athletes, to your clients, to people that want to get started on a pinnacle health journey, really. So, we're looking at things that are going to take you to the top by feeding you nutrition. And we all know, it's a part of a supplementary system. So when we're talking about these sorts of things, we're not saying that we're replacing any diets or anything else like that. In fact, I don't like the word diet. It's something that I actually I think diet is just what we eat. So if we actually look at it, is this is what we do. We're going to eat, and we need to know what we're putting into our bodies is the very best choices we can make. Because remember, everything that you do and everything that you take is your choice. So, with that being said, let's kind of jump straight into this particular side of things, which is, like we said at the very beginning, why would an athlete choose Isagenix? So, we've got two different types of athletes or two different types of people. We've got the weekend warriors, which are people that, we work out hard. We've got something at the weekend that we build up for. It might be a triathlon, it might be a cycling event, it might be a CrossFit event, it might be something, a charity event or anything else like that. But these are the weekend warriors. And then you've got athletes. Athletes are people that get paid to do their sport. So, you've got the guys at the top here that want to make a difference, be fit, be healthy, and have made a choice to really commit to having the best lifestyle that they can possibly have by looking after their body and looking after their mind. And the way that they do that is they take the right nutrition, they exercise daily, and they look at things in a positive way that they can control. Athletes on the other side of things, they do all that, but they do it to a slightly higher level, and that's because they get paid. And at some point they had some talent that was identified, and then they went to work on that talent, and they went to work tirelessly on that talent, and they loved their sport more than they want to do anything else in the world. So they really push themselves. But when you boil it down, it all comes down to four key aspects anyway. Okay, and what we're trying to do here is highlight how this system and how this nutritional plan, supplemented on the top of your normal daily intake, or as a swap in, or a way to make it more convenient, can help maximize these four key aspects. So the first key aspect we need to look at is sleep. It's vitally important, and if we don't do this well and we don't set ourselves up properly to get the right amount of sleep, we can see how that might affect our performance. Okay, the next thing is we need to train. We need to train hard. We need to train to an intensity that needs to be high enough to get some adaptation in the body to make sure that we're ready to perform. Okay. Next thing is we need to recover. So this is a big factor that people, I think, get wrong. So what they do all the training and they train real hard, and then they think, oh yeah, fine. All I need to do is just wait until my next training day. There's lots of things that you need to do in between that in order to maximize your recovery. And then finally, obviously, we need to perform, which happens either at a weekend or for whenever that might be coming up. So if you think about an Olympic athlete, they have to perform once every 4 years. So their training and focus needs to be very consistent, very on point, and very methodically planned when you think about their types of training. So building blocks of sleep and why this is important. Okay, so when we think about sleep, we've got to remember that there are several building blocks in order to maximize our sleep pattern, and nutrition is one of them. But when we think about it, majority, we need a routine for sleep. So there's a gentleman called Matthew Walker that's doing a lot of things nowadays that's very publicized about the routine of sleep. And what this means is you need to wake up and go to bed at the same time every day of the week. So regardless of whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, a Monday or a Wednesday, you need to have the same routine. If you do this, you're going to maximize your sleep and your ability to be able to perform. Okay, you need between 7 and 9 hours sleep. They've done studies where they do 6.5 hours sleep for people for a week, and it shows a massive cognitive decline, and it also shows you a massive performance decline in their outcomes and their ability to maximize the things that they're going for. So this is not just me spouting things that are things that are important to me. These are things that are backed by science, that are proven to help you perform and be the very best person you can be, whether that trying to be an athlete or a weekend warrior trying to just perform at the highest level every time you go to the track or to the meet or to the CrossFit event. Okay. The next thing is your nutrition time. We all know that's massively important. Yeah. You know, you can go and eat a fast food type of nutritional meal. There's no nutrition in it. There's nothing. So we need to make sure we're getting bang for our buck. So we need to make sure that the nutrition type that we do, that our nutrition is dense and heavy with the amount of nutrients and vitamins, minerals, got all the macro and micronutrients that we need in there, which we'll touch on. Nutrition timing. Again, there's lots and lots of studies out there now. A guy called Danny Sigma did a thing on the chronology of your timings of taking in the supplementation that you need and the nutrition that you need, and it's looking at how we can best maximize that around making sure that we sleep well, train well, recover well. So again, it's massively important, is that timing aspect to your nutrition. Melatonin levels, and when it comes around to sleep, this is the biggest factor that we probably get wrong in the Western world, because we've got all these distracting factors now, such as, you know, telephones, TVs, laptops, social media. We're all a little bit distracted in current times with, you know, current climate, that we think that we can go to bed later and wake up earlier, or later, should I say. And what this is doing is it's messing up our melatonin levels. And what this does is, if the melatonin is not right and you don't peak at the right time, you won't hit the deep restorative sleep. You won't recover. It can affect your performance up to 30%. So that's massive. So when you're looking at athletes, which is something that I do work with quite a lot, we have to make sure that we're maximizing this building block of sleep. And then the final thing is making sure that when you do go to bed, that your room temperature and your body temperature is about right. So the guy that I spoke about, Matthew Walker, he's talking about your room needs to be around about 18 degrees. That's going to help you drop off to sleep, and that'll keep you sleeping throughout the night, as opposed to, you know, your room getting too hot. And that's vitally important while we're coming into summer. Okay, so how can Isagenix help you sleep? So there are a couple of things that the scientists at Isagenix have managed to help us with. And the one thing that we do know throughout the day is if your hormone imbalance is not quite right, so something that gets a really bad rap, but actually we need it, is your cortisol levels. So what should happen is your cortisol levels should start off really high during in the morning. That's what gets us up, gets us out of bed, and it should fall throughout the day, ready for us to go to sleep and restore. Sometimes, obviously, through all the things that I've already mentioned, so social media, business, stress, basically, what happens is your cortisol goes up, goes down, goes up. It's a bit like a roller coaster. And if it's not in the right place, you're not going to find it easy to sleep. So what is in this Isagenix Supreme that is mentioned here on the screen, there's lots of adaptogenic herbs. And what these have been shown to do, again, backed by science, is they've been shown to help manage the cortisol levels and make sure that the cortisol levels are at the right level for you. Some people actually, like myself, I take this in the morning and it helps me massively. I don't have trouble sleeping, but for other people who have trouble sleeping, this can help reduce the cortisol levels, help you get to sleep and get that nice restorative sleep. The other thing that we need to get in plenty of amount as well is whey protein with minimal carbs at night, because at the end of the day, carbohydrates give you energy. So we've got to make sure that we keep the energy relatively low at night, but also the protein quite high. Protein's been shown to obviously aid body composition, and whey protein is the best to do that. And if you have 2 scoops of Isopro before you go to bed, that's going to feed you overnight. It's going to help you restore the damage you've done to the muscles during the day in your training, and then that means you're going to wake up in the morning feel a little bit more refreshed, a little bit more nourished, and ready to go for the next day, whether that be a hard training session or just your normal daily routine. And then the other thing is that they've got inside the system is something they call Isomove, and that's because it's got magnesium in it. And what that does is that obviously helps deep sleep. Magnesium is responsible for more than 100 different things that happen in the body. And what this does is, like I said, it helps you get into deep sleep. It helps regulate your blood pressure. It helps you metabolize certain foods correctly, and it gives you the right chemical balance within the bloodstream and within the body to help support nutritional function, basically, is what we're looking at. And magnesium is a massive part of that. So building blocks of training is the next thing we need to look at, and how we're going to do that. So when we're thinking about building blocks of training, again, there's 4 key aspects. We've got a speed aspect, we have a power aspect, we have a strength aspect, and then obviously we've got that stress adaptation that we need for the body to happen in order for the body to maximize its results and its gains towards where we're trying to get to. And what this looks like in the real world is, when you think about what we do, so when we do the training, so whether we're doing speed, power, or strength training, what happens is we cause damage at a cellular level within the muscles. And then what we need to do, we need to have the right nutrition within that system in order to replace and repair that stress adaptation that we've done. Now, throughout a lot of the studies that have been done in the background, we know that we need the right amount of protein, right amount of carbohydrates, right amount of fats, right amount of vitamins and minerals. And how this all works together is, if you've got a surplus of protein getting to the muscles. So at one point we used to think that it was protein synthesis that was an issue, so that's the protein not getting to the muscle. We've actually found that's the case anymore. What we need to have is, protein synthesis happens, but what we need to do, we need the right amount of vitamin D to break down the protein to stick it into the muscle. This is called protein degradation. So what needs to happen is, when the protein gets degraded and put into the muscle, it needs to make sure that it's going to the right areas. If there's not enough vitamin D, the body can't utilize the protein. The protein doesn't work correctly. We don't get the right amount of stress adaptation. We don't get the building blocks, and we don't get the improvements we're after. So whether that be body composition, speed, strength, power. So we need all these things within our diet to make sure that we're maximizing the outcomes. So again, how will Isagenix help you improve your training? So what they've done, the team at Isagenix, they've developed an AMP range. This is for the performance athlete out there, for the people that do get drugs tested, and this is the guys specifically that I work with as well. They do get drug tested, and that can be whenever the drugs testers want to turn up. So the pre-workout is the AMPS Nitro, so it's got your creatine, your beta-alanine, caffeine, and much more in there. So you take that around about 15-20 minutes before you work out. What that's going to do is, that's going to vasodilate the bloodstream to make sure that we get all the blood to the periphery, into the working muscles. It's going to give us a spike of creatine, which helps us with the ATP, which is basically your body's energy system. And then what that is also going to do alongside the caffeine is give us some mental focus. So prior to us, in that warm-up phase, ready to get in for a game, because I work in professional rugby, that's massive for the guys, for them to be focused, for them to have adequate muscle perfusion, and for them to have the best oxygen transference, basically, from the blood to the muscles, which means that these guys are going to recover better between efforts and between bouts of exercise. Alongside that, we've got an amped hydrate, which that's for during the game, obviously, while the guys are sweating out all the salts and the liquids that you do as your body temperature rises throughout your sporting day. What this is going to do is help optimize the performance levels, because it's going to give you the electrolytes, it's going to give you some B vitamins and some C vitamins to help you towards your optimal outcome for that particular match, game, cycle, whatever it is that you're looking for. And then it's really important that after the game that you start to recover instantly. So the thing that we've got here now is a post-workout, and that's got things in there like the cherry tart and the collagen, which collagen's been shown to help basically your tendons repair and any damage to the muscle and tendon. And basically we're made up of collagen. So the more amount of collagen we can get into the system, and again we need the vitamin D in order for this collagen to be synthesized. That's going to give us the best opportunity to start recovering, ready for the next time we need to work out. Which for my guys, if they play on a Saturday, they get a rest day Sunday, really need to recover well, and then back into training on a Monday morning. So building blocks of recovery, and this is the one thing probably where athletes have it over the weekend warriors, because they get paid to do this, so they've got the sole focus and the mental drive to do all these things. So they make sure that their nutrition is key. So when we spoke earlier about that building blocks to sleep as well, they make sure that the nutrition timing is key. So they're fueling the body with carbohydrates, with uh, fats, protein, vitamins, and minerals throughout the day, and making sure that they've got it ready to go for their training aspects. So they'll feed their body with carbs either pre and post workout. Okay, hydration again, we make sure that we're drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day, and then we've got to make sure that these guys are being mobile. So by that, what I mean is they're stretching out, they're making sure that they're not just doing explosive efforts all the time, but they're making sure that their body's in its peak performance and peak optimal uh, situation in order to be able to do repeat efforts day in, day out. And the other thing we get them to do, and this is one thing that if you're not doing, I urge you to do, is to practice movements, because we are what we practice. Or I had a football coach that once said to me, practice makes permanent, never perfect. So we are what we do, and that's a big thing coming from a physio. For the guys that sit in offices and things like that, you are what you do. So if you're sat down most of the time and things like that, you'll usually end up with back pain and things like this that manifest over time, and you have no idea where they come from. And it's just because whatever we do more often, we become that. Okay, so it's really important to keep a varied movement pattern and make sure that we're practicing the things that we can do to make it an optimal outcome. So how can Isagenix help your recovery? So what they've done, like we've just said, you need protein, carbs, fats, and vitamins and minerals. They've developed a meal replacement shake that, for an athlete or somebody that's trying to sustain a high level of performance, you wouldn't potentially use it as a meal replacement shake. You'd use it as a meal, an extra meal throughout the day. So, because we all know calories in versus calories out is the main important thing. So, if we're trying to obviously shed a few pounds or body fat or get a little bit leaner, we're going to drop the calories a little bit, but we still need the high end nutrition. We still need whey protein. We still need high levels of carbs. We still need high levels of fats, proteins, milk, uh, vitamins, minerals, and it's all important. We can't miss one and think we're going to get the outcome that we want, because it's not sustainable. What we've got to do, we've got to make sure that this is sustainable and we're functioning at the optimum level every time we're trying to do something. So your choices make your outcomes. You are a result of what you choose to do, and there's no finer saying than that, really. You are a choice. You have the choice to be what you want to be, and if you want to fuel your body with fantastic nutrition, this is going to help. The other things that they've got alongside this is obviously a few snacks, because like I said, it's really important that we get the right amount of protein in, and that's one of the main fundamental building blocks of making sure you've got the correct body composition, is to make sure that you've got the right amount of protein, which is around about 1 gram of protein per kilo of body mass. If you're trying to build a little bit of lean muscle, athletes can go right up to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body mass, because their demands are a lot higher, and they're training a lot more, so they can manage that. So within that, we've also, like I say, we've got the Isopro, which will help you with, which is just pure protein fuel there. And then in the bottom corner there, we've got a kind of recovery drink, which is 1 scoop of Isopro, a stick of the half a stick of the amped hydrate, and 1 serving of Ionic Supreme, which helps reduce any oxidative stress that you might have accumulated in your body during your training. So building blocks of performance, when we look at these, they're actually a combination of the 3 things that we've previously spoke about. So they're a combination of sleep, plus the training, plus the recovery. They all equal your performance. So the longer that you commit to these things, the better your outcomes are going to be. So it's not going to happen in a day, a week, a month, sometimes even a year. If we're coming from, a really big injury, or if we're coming from a place where we've not been very fit, we've got to make sure that we have the right timeline, the right expectations, and the right nutrition in order to fuel what we're trying to achieve. Now, if you've all been watching The Last Dance and things like that, that's on Netflix documentary at the minute with Michael Jordan, you'll see how, you know, unforgiving and relentless he was to try and win and become the very, very best among the best. So if you want to be a top 2%er and you want to push for that way and you want to get to your very best you need to sleep well, train well, recover well, and you will perform eventually. So just in honor of obviously the current documentary, here's Michael Jordan just slamming it and bringing it home. So what you're going to do, are you just going to keep sitting there saying, oh, I wish I'd done that, or I wish I'd done this, or I wish it's one of the horriblest sayings you'll ever come across. So what you're going to do, the choice is yours. And I know for a fact Isagenix will be the choice of the athletes. So thank you very much. And hopefully this has answered all your questions.